That's Pep Guardiola, and there's an embrace at the moment between him and Marco Silva. They're clearly joking about something as they stride across from the cottage way to our left to the dugouts on the riverside of the stadium. We've had all of the usual pre-match fanfare, the light show, fireworks, as is the case at plenty of clubs these days, and plumes of flame shooting up into the air. We felt the warmth of that even from the opposite side of the ground. But on Marco Silva, Martin Keown, I mean, they're obviously desperate to finally get him to sign this new contract, aren't they? And you can completely understand that from Fulham's perspective.
Of course. But, you know, when they've had a little bit of a run now, 3 from the last 4 they won. I think they lost 4 games on the spin there, and things where they were dropping down the table. So the wins have come just at the right time for them. They do have a fair amount of strength in depth in options for him. I like the look of the Anderson at the back and Bassi. It's just quite a strong base there. And I felt at the beginning of the season they should have been getting a lot more from the games that they played in. Now they're getting the rightful results. I think he'll come into this feeling relatively confident, but he's made a tweak in midfield, and it's about time, isn't it? It's about time that Fulham have done something in this fixture. 18 times they've lost. You know, that's ridiculous when you think about it. The record, I'd certainly want to be putting that right if I was a Fulham player.
Well, can they do your old club a favour tonight? That's the big question, isn't it? Is this a Manchester City team that is a little more unpredictable? They were pegged back against Leeds at the weekend. Yes, they went on to win, but can Fulham do Arsenal a favour in the title race?
Well, we'll have to see. We'll see which Fulham turns up. Is it the one more recently, or is it... I mean, he made certain changes which I would actually identify as making Fulham better, and now he's gone back really to the team that he believes in. He's giving people a second chance. I think Lukic in midfield is an interesting one. He will give you that stability, puts his foot in, but as I say, Wobie, I think we can confirm, is out on the left here, and I really like him in the middle. Let's see how it evolves.
Well, he started in that role, didn't he, against Tottenham at the weekend. Alex Iwobi playing on the left tonight for Fulham. A reminder of the two teams, Fulham all in white and Manchester City in their change kit tonight of all black. And Leno is the Fulham goalkeeper. Tete, Anderson, Bassi and Sessegnon, Berger and Lukic, Wilson, Smith Rowe and Iwobi behind Raul Jimenez up front. And for Manchester City, the goalkeeper is Donnarumma, Nunes, Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly the back four, Bernardo Silva, Gonzalez and Reinders in the middle, Foden and Doku either side of Haaland up front. It's a chilly night on the banks of the Thames. The rain, heavy before the game, has stopped now. The floodlights are on and Manchester City get us underway, playing from left to right in the first half towards the Hammersmith end, and Fulham from right to left towards the Putney end of the ground, which is split between home and away supporters. And we've got Fulham fans packed all around us here in the Johnny Haynes stand, only a few rows from the edge of the pitch, and an early touch for Ruben Diaz in the right-sided central defensive position. Back to the big goalkeeper Donnarumma, who, apart from his propensity to pick up bookings in the Premier League, has been an instant hit at Manchester City, I think it's fair to say. They're underway at Bournemouth. Bournemouth against Everton is on the Talksport app tonight. Newcastle against Tottenham on Talksport at 8:15, and all 10 Premier League matches this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, live and exclusive with us as City look to close the gap on Arsenal at the top to just 2 points. Arsenal take on Brentford tomorrow in a game that is live on Talksport. 0-0, early stages, and here's Martin Keown.
Yeah, just looking, Phil Foden looks like he's going to be playing on the right-hand side of that midfield. Nunes is keeping the width for him, the fullback, he flies forward. Then you've got Bernardo Silva to deal with as well. So I see them being strong, particularly on their right-hand side. Be interesting. Maybe that's why Iwobi is now in that area to try to deal with that problem.
Pep Guardiola and Marco Silva both standing on the edge of their technical areas. Marco Silva with his arms folded on the far side. We saw Pep before the game at about 5:30 sitting in his seat in the dugout, and before the rain arrived he was back in the tunnel just in time. Interesting,
Foden already getting those little touches. We said in the build-up, you know, you might not have done that too much with Rodri in the past, but now he goes deep to give a solution to build that platform in midfield.
Rodri's still out injured, and Guardiola has said he doesn't know if he'll be fit for the weekend. Doku for Manchester City, I don't think they've lost the ball at all so far. Lovely crossfield pass from O'Reilly out to the right, and Nunes left to right, and now Bernardo Silva 10 yards into Fulham territory. Some Fulham fans late arrivals to the game in front of us here. Bernardo Silva to Foden again, and Foden in that deep-lying role, square to Joško Gvardiol in the centre circle. Out they go to the far side, the left, and now Doku scampers infield, looks for Haaland inside the penalty area. It bounces off Bassi, who was uncertain, and he's knocked it out of play for a throw.
You're right. he didn't look happy there. He nearly fell into the path of Haaland, but he manages to clear it. They're not engaging Fulham. They're allowing Man City to just set their stall out. Fabian Silva is he's the governor as well, isn't he, in that team? Look, he just sits out of it on this right-hand side, and they're happy, Fulham, just to sit in their system.
Well, Nunes has lost his boot, and yet he's running off after the ball down the inside right and tried to beat Sessegnon to it. You don't often see that. Martin Keown, the boot clean off, and he kept running anyway.
No.
He's now put it back on.
Good spot, but he's almost playing like a right winger, isn't he? I mean, he's been an interesting player because the last thing you'd have expected him to do was play right back, and really that's the last place he is playing right now. He's there right now, though. He's gone back into the right back berth, but he's everywhere.
It's almost a back three for Manchester City, isn't it, when they're in possession? And Nunes pushing high up the field with Ruben Dias, Gvardiol and O'Reilly acting as centre halves. Fulham have barely had a kick in the first 3.5 minutes. They do now with Tete in the right back position, not beaten Manchester City home or away since 2009, and not beaten them here at Craven Cottage remarkably since 2005 in the Premier League. It's a game that Manchester City have dominated, and you wonder how much psychology comes into play at this point.
Well, they're up against their nemesis, and at the moment they're not actually passing the ball very well at all. Keep giving it away here. Man City pressing really high, got it back again.
This is Talksport 2. Gvardiol on the halfway line, scored at the weekend for Manchester City. Now Diaz to Bernardo Silva. Almost exclusively Manchester City possession so far. A win takes them to within 2 points of Arsenal. Arsenal-Brentford live tomorrow night on Talksport at 7:30. That's followed by Liverpool against Sunderland on Talksport 2 and Leeds against Chelsea on the app. Again, they look to the right, and Nunes hugging the touchline. Excellent header infield to Foden on the edge of the penalty area. Lays it square into the path of Jeremy Doku with a shot that takes a big deflection. Header away by Bassi. Now Nico Gonzalez for Manchester City, and Nunes is a clear outlet for City in the early stages here.
Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive from City, and Fulham are just passengers in this game at the moment, and it's like they go down the left and then they'll switch it out to Nunes on this right-hand side, who looks in really good nick, actually. Foden, the movement here is outstanding. Haaland just pins the defenders, so you can build up them within that, and at the moment it looks really comfortable for City.
They're very standoffish in these early stages, aren't they, Fulham?
I think they're just trying to keep their shape. They don't want to get exposed, but look, Foden's in again.
Foden darting up the middle and playing it into the path of Haaland. Is this his moment? He's hit the post. It looked for all the world it was going to end up in the back of the net, and finally he would have that century of Premier League goals. But Erling Haaland rolled the ball towards the corner. Leno was beaten, and it comes back off the base of the post.
Well, Nunes into Foden and then into Haaland. It's that easy. You just give the ball to the player in front of you that's better than you, and he hits the post. And really, that should be 1-0. I mean, it's a glaring miss when you consider the quality that he's got, but that was just a knife through butter.
Well, he's on a mini goal drought, isn't he, Martin, by his standards at the moment, and he looks certain to score.
Yeah, and he's just taken a foul there. Bassi's getting far too tight. You've got to be physical with him. You know, Haaland is he's a beast, isn't he? He's rapid. Look at the size of him, and he's just backing in there, and Bassi just doesn't know how to handle him right now.
Here is Nunes out in the right wing position for Manchester City. Now the diminutive Bernardo Silva back to Ruben Dias midway inside his own half of the field. It's 0-0. Live on Talksport 2 tonight. Gvardiol out on the halfway line to Doku, and total domination really from Manchester City of the first 6.5 minutes, and they should be ahead, and Haaland would have certainly banked on tucking that away on his left foot as well, but off the post it went. Now Nunes surging down the right again, trying to dart beyond Sessegnon, and Iwobi dropping deep to try and help Sessegnon out here at the moment.
You know, we all watched that game, the derby game at the weekend, Arsenal-Chelsea, and you saw how motivated those Chelsea players were, certainly, weren't they? I don't see that from Fulham. I mean, you know, Marco Silva quite happy with this. Again, it's another forward pass here.
Passive in the game as City look for Reinders up the inside right, cleared away by Bassi, out for a throw, and there's no real energy on the field nor in the stands for Fulham at the moment. It's all Manchester City. And this was the case, Martin. I was here for the game between these two at the end of last season, which City won by 2-0, and Manchester City goal felt inevitable. And here's Foden trying to pluck a high ball out of the air. Bassi in the way this time, and it's cleared upfield by Sessegnon. Raul Jimenez, good reverse ball over halfway. Harry Wilson will chase it, and he'll get there in front of Gvardiol. Right corner of the area. Great reverse ball towards Smith Rowe, and it hits Ruben Dias and goes behind for a corner. Well, they nearly had us eating our words there, did Fulham.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all that is really is a long diagonal ball. Jimenez does really well, receives it, plays it, scoops it in. Gvardiol should be getting there. Wilson too quick for him, and he just plays it across the box, and then actually the defender gets back in the end, puts it out for a corner. But I think it's Smith Rowe coming onto it, and he would have certainly tested the goalkeeper if he'd have got to that.
Well, his only Premier League goal this season, Smith Rowe, was against Manchester United on the second weekend. Fulham corner away to our left at the Putney end of the ground, and everybody in black is back defending for Manchester City. Plenty of white shirts forward here for Fulham, and standing over the ball ready to take the corner is Lukic. Lukic delivers right-footed, headed away at the near post, and Foden now can counter here for Manchester City. Knocks it wide left behind Doku, and that'll put an end to that counter-attack. Doku has to go backwards to Gvardiol, and so Fulham unable to make anything of the corner, but certainly their first foray forward, Martin Keown, was an impressive.
Well, that's the game plan, isn't it? It looks like it's one of those, I'm not going to say rope-a-dope, but they're going to sit deep, and then it's like, OK, if we can spring a little bit of surprise, a bit of pace on the break, and Wilson does look as if he's got good pace there. But I think it's a risky game here, just to allow Fulham. We had torrential rain. It's got a lovely top on it here. They've won it again.
Jimenez, midway inside Manchester City territory, had nowhere to go but try and get beyond Nico Gonzalez, who fouls him. And it's a clumsy free kick given away by Manchester City. Raul Jimenez wasn't really going anywhere there. Fulham 0, City 0, and we're in the 10th minute on Talksport 2.
Well, the key to that was they lost possession and they managed to go and press it, and that's what they've got to do. I think it was Lukic who goes in and steals it, and then they panic a little bit because Jimenez gets the ball, and then they just push him to the ground. It's a definite free kick.
And it's Nico Gonzalez with a poor challenge, really. And intriguingly here, Manchester City are holding a very high defensive line. There's only about 15 yards between the taker, Lukic,
very high line,
and the defensive line. And Lukic has to go square, and he stabbed it straight into the path of Doku, who's evaded Wilson and has caught him. The referee stops it, but Fulham get very lucky there. It was a terrible free kick from Lukic, trying to play it square to Wilson as the rain returns at Craven Cottage. And I mean, was that a foul, Doku on Wilson, Martin?
Well, we're just going to have another look at it here, and catches him maybe. I think he goes down realising, but do you know how negative was that? It's a free kick on the edge of the box, and it's almost a white flag. It's like, oh, okay, we don't know how to play this. It's so high that what we've worked on won't really work. So I tell you what, we'll just play a square pass, and no one was expecting it. Wilson certainly wasn't, and Doku nearly gets away there.
Forward by Anderson. He loves those high diagonal balls, but this one's overhit, and on a very wet surface it's going to slide off the pitch and out of play for a goal kick.
I think in their normal shape, Fulham, Sessegnon loves to get down that left-hand side, and that ball is a great one, but he's going to get nowhere near that because he's not really committing to getting forward.
Very heavy rain here at Craven Cottage now as Fulham get another free kick just shy of the halfway line. It's goalless at the Vitality tonight, live on the Talksport app. Bournemouth 0, Everton 0 in the early stages. We've got over 60 live commentaries across December, and including the festive period as well. 60, so that's about 2 a day, isn't it, Martin, between now and the end of Christmas?
Well, you might hear me again with all those opportunities that are out there.
Forward by Leno, high down the middle, and Ruben Dias lets it drop over his shoulder. Nunes will hook the ball up towards halfway, and there's Iwobi to bring it down on the halfway line back to Calvin Bassey. It's fascinating that you spoke about Arsene Wenger, and a man that you know very well, and the fact that he felt that Iwobi was best suited playing in that central area, which is where he is at the moment, actually.
That's right, but I think in those days there was a lot of players who wanted to play, the likes
centrally
of
at Arsenal,
Wiltshire, and yeah, so he couldn't quite get into there, but he's keeping a shape for the team, but I'd like to see him in the middle there, controlling things.
On the halfway line is Lukic, back to Tete. Fulham seeing more of the ball now as we head towards the quarter hour mark. Manchester City with a poor away record, just 7 points from their opening 6 matches, and Iwobi's free out on the left-hand side, and he brings the ball out of the air beautifully. Lovely pass to find him crossfield by Tete. Iwobi now taking on Foden and Nunes. Iwobi heads for the corner flag. Nunes does well defensively. It's only half away, though, by Ruben Dias, and Ryan Sessegnon is there to retrieve the ball for Fulham.
Sessegnon looks sharp there, and he's a player that can cause problems, but you've got to give him the ammunition. You've got to be brave and send him forward.
Well, this is much more like it from Fulham, who have won 4 of their last 5 at home in the Premier League and have only lost once all season to Martin's old club Arsenal. Forward by Doku up the middle, looking for Reinders, when intercepted by Berger, who's effective dropping in between the 2 centre-halves. Now Emile Smith-Rowe scampers over the halfway line down the near side, the left. Sessegnon is on the overlap and in support, sliding in his Nunes. Not a great ball by Smith-Rowe, a bit predictable, but it is a Fulham throw.
Well, it was certainly, wasn't it, in favouring the defender there, Nunes.
Iwobi from 25 yards, a little dink into the penalty area, but too long for Raul Jimenez, and gathered by the Italian goalkeeper, all in green, Gianluigi Donnarumma.
I think there, just to give you, he's on the left-hand side of the box there, and he's just trying to just lift it, but he's running at such pace. It's quite a difficult skill then to get the right weight on it. It just goes in to the goalkeeper. But I think it's very interesting battle down this. I know it's the near side from where we sit, and it's the nearest thing to us, but certainly the game looks like it could be won and lost on this side of the pitch.
Well, Nunes going forward and having to be as effective as he is defensively in the game so far against Sessegnon and Iwobi.
And when Foden gets it, it's brilliant now, his touch. He's so slick when he gets the ball. It's like on the half turn, and he's looking for Haaland every time he gets it.
There's such a great elegance about Foden, a peerless presence in midfield for Manchester City this season, and people are saying, of course, that he's back to his best, and what a wonderful winning goal it was on Saturday against Leeds United. Here is Foden now, just shy of the halfway line, angled ball into the path of Nunes, bypassed 3 or 4 white Fulham shirts, and now Haaland to Doku, left on edge of the penalty area, O'Reilly into the box now, the angle is tight, and across comes Anderson to hammer it into touch. Lovely flowing football from Manchester City, but could O'Reilly have taken that on a little earlier than he did?
Yeah, perhaps. I think Anderson gets across well, though. They just moved the ball beautifully down this right-hand side, switched it to the left, and the shot should have come in maybe a little bit earlier. But Foden is definitely now the game changer for them. Everything going through him, and it is that changing of the guard, and you can see it. First time I've seen him live this season, and he's very special.
The Lionesses are in front against Ghana in their final game of the year. Lucia Kendall has scored. England 1, Ghana 0. Goalless in the Premier League at Bournemouth, Everton, and 0-0 here. Fulham and Manchester City on Talksport 2 as the rain gets even heavier overhead. There was a leaky drain before the game, Martin, above us, and it was dripping onto the Fulham fans down below, and thankfully it isn't too leaky at the moment, but I hope they've got their coats and hats with them tonight. Well,
as long as the fence isn't too leaky, I think the fans will be quite happy.
Yeah, they're all right for now. I think they have got the hoods up, though. Here is Nico Gonzalez from Manchester City, all in black tonight. Foden to the right-hand side, and Nunes, who tried a first-time cross. Sessegnon in the way. Sessegnon scoops it long, only as far as Ruben Dias, and Manchester City come forward again. Dias is 25 yards out here, nudges it wide. Nunes, first-time cross. Nobody there at the back post. Header away by Wilson of Fulham. And Nico Gonzalez gets to the loose ball. We've had 16 minutes that in large part have been dominated by Manchester City, and Erling Haaland has hit the woodwork for the 13th time in the Premier League. Here he is again! Left-footed shot is in! That's the one he wanted! Erling Haaland left-footed from the middle of the penalty area, and finally he is a member of the Premier League's 100 club. A top-flight centurion and the quickest player to have scored 100 Premier League goals. He really is a record breaker, one of English football's true greats of the modern age, and what a finish, what a way to do it. Pinpoint accuracy, it flashed past Leno, and Manchester City's main man has got 100 Premier League goals, and he's put them in front at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. That was just perfect, clinical Erling Haaland.
Yeah, it was. Ball into the box, it's so slick. There's about a dozen passes there from City, no Fulham players really contesting, and then he's the ultimate marksman, isn't he? He just pulls the trigger, pulls away from his defenders. You can't give him that time and space in the box, otherwise he'd destroy you. He was already missed one earlier on hit the post. There was no way he was going to miss that one.
And Alan Shearer's record is gone. And for Erling Haaland, as I say, the quickest any player has scored, 100 Premier League goals, 100 in 111 games, Martin. And Alan's record was 124 appearances, which tells you everything about how great a Premier League presence Erling Haaland has been.
Yeah, obviously he's a machine in terms of his finishing. The players he has around him who feed him. I was thinking to myself, actually, something's going to happen here because Haaland hasn't had too many touches of the ball. It won't be long before he gets one. It's just a shame that the defenders for Fulham weren't thinking the same way.
And Manchester City with their customary lead at Fulham, and they, more significantly than perhaps anything, are moving to within 2 points of Arsenal, though Arsenal will have a game in hand at home to Brentford tomorrow, live on Talksport. And it's fair to say, and I'm sure Martin will agree with me, that Manchester City are the closest challengers you would think for Arsenal this season, even despite Chelsea's display at the weekend.
Oh no, I think it's hard to choose between Chelsea and Man City. They're building, aren't they, Chelsea?
They are.
And in a way, this is like maybe his third team, Pep. He doesn't normally stay anywhere this long, so it's intriguing to see whether he can, recreate excellence again.
Wilson from the halfway line with an angled ball up the middle. It's well intercepted by Ruben Dias. And the dominance of Manchester City is clear. Haaland has his 100th Premier League goal, a unique achievement and a record-breaking achievement in the same instance. Sliding in is Tete. Nobody else has got to 100 Premier League goals quicker than him. And so 20 minutes gone, and it's 1-0 to Manchester City on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Newcastle against Tottenham live today. Search Now Sports. Fulham have a free kick which they take quickly, and well, is there a route back into the game for Fulham? Smith Rowe, left edge of the centre circle, out to the near side, and Sessegnon only a few yards in front of us here. And now into a central area is Anderson. Anderson is on the halfway line, little square ball to Tete. Not a great deal of noise around the stadium tonight, and it's flat, isn't it, Martin, the atmosphere, I think?
Would you call it acceptance? Is it what they expect?
It feels like it, doesn't it?
I mean, when was the last time you saw Fulham win here, against Man City?
Well, it's 2005.
Well, it's a long time ago, isn't it? So 20-odd years, and people are arriving here feeling, it's that feeling again of, our season won't be judged on this, but, it's one of those where I just feel that it was a bit of a white flag with the start setup that they've had, and then they're giving the initiative to Man City. There's another lovely little deft flick from Phil Foden, going through the repertoire tonight, by the way.
Forward by Reinders over the halfway line, and Haaland is chasing. Only Bassi between him and the goal. Haaland, left corner of the penalty area, has held it up here. He's had to be dispossessed by Bassi in the end, and Bassi's won it off Doku too. Bassi over the halfway line. He's beyond Bernardo Silva. What a run from the centre half, and now he's joining the attack again. Iwobi on the edge of the box, onto the left foot, whips in the cross. It's poor, cleared away by Gvardiol. He was cheered to the rafters. There was Bassi. There's a foul on Foden and a free kick for Manchester City. What about that from the former centre-half, Martin Keough?
The reason he's being cheered is because he showed some personality and some character, and he's just got out of that straitjacket he's been in since the start of the game. It's one of those you've got to play with freedom, and definitely they've been in Man City's shadow at the start of this game. I mean, City now got to go for the jugular, by the way, because it's interesting. You go a goal down in a game, and it can suddenly let the shackles off a little bit. There's a case in point, really. He's a bit freer in his movement, but Man City have got to go and finish this before Fulham realise that they're actually they could get back into it.
1-0 to Manchester City, and we are nearly at the midway points of the first half, and Donnarumma has not been tested as yet. The Premier League table with Manchester City second place, 28 points from 14 played it would be. Arsenal 30 points from 13 played. And this vitally important midweek run of football, all 10 games are live on the Talksport network. Just download our app and then you can swipe between all the matches as and when you need to, particularly tomorrow, where it's going to be a very busy evening of football And then Thursday night we've got Manchester United against West Ham. Sessegnon infield from the left for Fulham, and he can't find Raul Jimenez with the square ball. Ruben Diaz gets back, and it must rank certainly Martin Keown as one of Manchester City's more accomplished away performances so far this season, at least from what we've seen so far.
It's early yet. You know, this is the thing. They've been ahead in games this season on a number of occasions. We've seen them 2 up and then let teams back. That happened at the weekend.
Well, they have won it back. Fulham in the middle of the Manchester City half, and now left of centre is Smith Rowe. About 25 yards out, wide to Iwobi. Fulham looking for the equaliser here. Iwobi wearing gloves tonight, back to Sessegnon, and now Bassi, the number 3. Bassi, the very good centre-half, finds Iwobi, who finds Smith Rowe. Good save, Donnarumma. Well, he got down so quickly to that, the big goalkeeper, plunged to his right-hand side. Smith Rowe tried to place it in the bottom corner, and Donnarumma got across to deny it.
Great ball from Iwobi, and Smith Rowe spins on it, and that is a world-class save. No doubt about it. This goalkeeper's reflexes are ridiculous at times. Lovely pass from Iwobi, and then Smith Rowe comes onto it, hits it through the legs, by the way, of Diaz, and he just gets that big right hand down, doesn't he, to the near post.
But it's extraordinary reactions from a guy who's 6'6", and near the body as well, Martin. He wasn't stretching, was he? He had to plunge, almost collapse onto it there, Donnarumma.
He anticipates and reads that incredibly well. And I was thinking Smith Rowe not doing anything in the game. You sit on the sidelines. You know, I know he's had injury problems, but when you get your chance, you've got to take it. And he suddenly woke up.
1-0 to Manchester City. This is Talksport 2. Well, this is better from Fulham, certainly. The tall Berger pokes it wide left to Iwobi. He's got Sessegnon ahead of him. Iwobi waited for the run of Sessegnon, goes back to Berger instead, about 25 yards out. Referee nearly gets in the way there. Craig Pawson. Now Smith Rowe with his back to goal, jinking away from Nico Gonzalez, goes down towards the edge of the penalty area. No free kick given by the referee, and then tremendous weaving footwork from Bernardo Silva. Nutmeg Ruben Diaz on Bassi. He's caught. Fulham fans out of their seats in protest because the free kick eventually goes Manchester City's way.
Well, they might be, but it wasn't a foul on Smith Rowe, no way. And it was a definite foul there on Diaz. Bassi just... He just paces. It's a roadblock, isn't it?
Well, we've got Fulham fans all around us, and they're not entirely happy with the referee.
Hope they can't hear my commentary.
Here is O'Reilly over the halfway line for Manchester City. He's left of centre. Haaland is in the middle, having scored that 100th Premier League goal tonight. Doku out in the wing position, back to Gvardiol, midway inside the Fulham half, and now Nunes. Floodlights are shimmering above us here. There's still a bit of light rain in the air. Now it's with Nico Gonzalez again. Foden is in a forward position midway into the Fulham half as Gonzalez pings a diagonal ball out to the left, and Doku takes it down brilliantly. Doku taking on Wilson to the dead ball line. He crosses high. Foden won't reach that at the back post, but Reinders will. Reinders plays it back to Nunes, right on the corner of the box. High cross towards Haaland, and the header takes a deflection. It hit the back of Lukic. Haaland with the first touch. Corner to Manchester City.
Yeah, and that's where he's elusive. When that ball's out wide, he just pulls away into the space, and in the end, it's the midfield player that has to deal with it, not a central defender in sight. And that would worry me, because you're passing that responsibility. That has to be communicated really well. The fullback's in there as well. And Anderson claps his colleague. And for me, I think he should be looking for him in the box, you know?
He's 5 yards away, isn't he, Anderson?
He's looking... look, Haaland's looking to be the predator, to find space, and it's like you can't give it to him that easily.
Corner here from Reinders, right-footed and in-swinging, aimed at Doku at the back post, tried to knock it back across goal first time on the volley. It takes a deflection off a white shirt and goes out of play for a Manchester City throw. City from left to right in the first half towards the Hammersmith end of the ground. And Nunes is going to take this throw. He's got options square to the right and to the left. Foden is to the right, hugging the touchline. Back to Nunes. Good first touch away from Raul Jimenez. And then Bernardo Silva. Little flick over the top into the penalty area. Only half away. Little flick by Haaland this time. Volleyed clear by Bassi up into the dark sky. And then Gvardiol with a loose header poorly directed, but Anderson with an even worse clearance straight out of play. Well, how much belief is in this Fulham team that they can come back even 27 minutes into the game? 18 defeats from 18 in the Premier League coming into tonight against Manchester City, and they've had that one good moment with Smith Rowe, denied by Donnarumma, but it's certainly been City's first half an hour or so.
I think that's sort of based on the Man City reputation as well, because they felt they needed to make 2 changes. They're going into this game in good form. I wonder if the manager's now regretting a little bit that he made those changes. I mean, Iwobi, we've not really seen him too much. When we have, he's provided a really good pass for Smith Rowe and then nearly scored.
Well, they were conservative changes, weren't they? I think it's fair to say, taking out King and Chukwueze in particular, who has 2 assists in 2 matches coming into tonight. Harry Wilson looking to burst up the middle. The ball is flicked away by Ruben Dias and then sent skywards by O'Reilly. Cushioned header by Bassi to the feet of Iwobi. And now Anderson to the right of the centre circle. In the centre circle is Berger, knocks it wide towards Lukic, and he can't get control of possession. Kenny Tete in a 50-50 with Nico O'Reilly, and the Manchester City man wins that 50-50, and it's a throw to City in front of the dugout.
Yeah, I think Lukic is finding it difficult in there. Not really up to the speed of this match at the moment.
It's not been a night of too much goalmouth action so far anywhere around the country, really. In fact, the only goal has come here at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 0, Everton 0 on the Talksport app. And remember, Newcastle against Tottenham is underway at 8:15 on Talksport this evening. Blackburn 0, Ipswich 0 in the Championship, and Wigan 0, Burton 0 is the latest score in League One. Iwobi infield to Berger, who under pressure from Bernardo Silva has rolled the ball straight out of play.
And it's understandable, because you haven't got the same connections, you haven't got the same rhythm, because you've changed the system, and also the calibre of the opponent that you're playing against then makes it doubly difficult for you to play in that situation.
Well, they look very silky so far, do Manchester City. Gvardiol, the left-sided centre-half, with a square pass to Ruben Dias, angled ball up to halfway, Bernardo Silva, back to Nunes, and Ruben Dias again. Tall Portuguese with so much experience, 10 major trophies that he's won at Manchester City.
Just started to edge just a little bit higher up the pitch though, Fulham. I think that's the message. First time we've really seen any collective press.
And they nearly win it back high up the pitch. They do. Sessegnon, Bernardo Silva. Now Iwobi led with the edge of the box. Smith Rowe tucks it back into the path of Berger. Manchester City have got everybody in black behind the ball, and Fulham go backwards to the halfway line, and then Anderson rattles the ball against the shins of Lukic, who throws his arms up into the air as if to say, well, what can I do? And Fulham have got to start to build an attack again.
Thanks very much for that kind of pass. Yes, I get it. And they were on the left here, but they didn't recognise that they had a +1 on this side of the pitch.
Here they come again with Smith Rowe in the 10 role tonight. Fulham's number 32. Iwobi with reverse ball up the middle. It's a lovely one to Lukic, and Lukic can't find Smith Rowe. He never really looked like he was a confident player in that sort of position, Sasa Lukic, but he has won it back again. Raul Jimenez, right corner of the penalty area towards Wilson. He gets his feet in a tangle, but manages to win it back. Fit for tonight, Wilson, after scoring at Tottenham at the weekend. Now Kenny Tete on to Lukic with a low first-time cross. It's hit Ruben Dias. It's a Fulham corner, but it wasn't convincing Martin Keown, but they get something out of it.
No, I think Lukic was involved there, and I think he chose the wrong pass. Jimenez was making the run into the right channel. He tried to do a reverse pass, which was even more difficult, and it was blocked. But we have a corner here for Fulham.
And it's in front of the Manchester City fans, who are all on their feet behind the goal. You can see plenty of flashes of sky blue among the Manchester City supporters. And a corner to Fulham, which Lukic and Wilson are standing over. One of them will take it, of course. Will it be the in-swinger of Wilson? No, he's going to leave it for the outswinging right-footed delivery. Lukic all the way to Smith Rowe, edge of the box, and on the half volley he sent it over the top. Donnarumma was unsighted, I think, there, and had that been on target, the goalkeeper might have had a problem.
Well, I think it was Bernardo Silva who misses it, and that puts him off a little bit, so he does quite well to adjust. I think it's Diaz, isn't it, chasing after that, but he manages to get that something on the bat, on the ball, shall we say, but it goes over the bar. They're pressing high now, and I think this is what they should have been doing from the off. They let Man City settle here far too much right at the beginning of this match, and they've paid for it.
Oh, Haaland and Bassi in a right old tangle on the halfway line, and they get to their feet.
Well, that was more Strictly Come Dancing, wasn't it, than football.
Well, you know what those tangles are like, Martin. Those
Did you say tango?
one-on-ones.
Did you say tango?
Against great strikers that you'll have faced over the years. Iwobi away on the left-hand side for Fulham. Sessegnon making the underlapping run. Iwobi goes square into a central area. Raul Jimenez has held it up well. Wide to the right. Harry Wilson left-footed in swinging delivery. Good header away. That was a lovely cross by Wilson. Cleared by Ruben Dias. Haaland's gone down off the ball again in a challenge with Bassi. Pep Guardiola has seen it. He's furious, has the referee.
Well, Bassi looks as if he's a bit worried, so that kind of gives me the impression that something's happened there. He must have just stamped on him, or there's certainly been contact, and that's the second time we've seen that in just a few moments.
Well, it's Bassi and Haaland totally off the ball. What's happened here? We've got these monitors in our commentary position, Martin Keown.
Looks like he's actually trod on him, Bassi, and it's maybe down the back of the Achilles. He's trying to follow his movement. He's got a little bit too close. I'm not sure if VAR are looking at that. They tend to look at all of these instances. I believe it was an accident, actually.
A pat on the back for Haaland from Calvin Bassi, and the referee, I'm sure, is in conversation with the VAR. Meanwhile, we get another chance on our monitors to have a look at the Haaland finish for the goal. A beautiful finish it was from the middle of the penalty area. First time left-footed, but I don't think there'll be any further action against Calvin Bassi here, Martin.
No, and I think when we're just looking at replays of the goal, and it further underlines the amount of space he's got, and you think about, he's not done this lightly, has he? Reached this 100 goals, the fastest player ever. And the order of the day, what's on the menu? Pick him up in the box.
Well, he's beaten Alan Shearer's record tonight. The record was in 124 appearances before this evening, and Erling Haaland has done it. And 111 games it took the 6'4" Norwegian to make it a Premier League century.
He's limping somewhat.
Yeah, he's not comfortable, is he, Haaland, after that challenge with Bassi? But he's going to be on the attack here. Doku is raiding down the left-hand side for Manchester City. The ball squeezed into his path. He's heading for the corner flag. Plays it backwards now to Nico O'Reilly. 10 minutes of the first half plus added time to go on Talksport 2. And it's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. And Fulham actually do well to force Manchester City to go backwards.
I think when Doku gets it, he does this little shimmy, doesn't he, at high speed. It's really difficult to play against.
Well, he's such a quick and direct player, isn't he? He's a great attacking player to watch. We saw him against Liverpool, particularly outstanding. His infield pass is straight to Wilson. There's a bit of commentator's curse for you, Martin.
Interesting. I think Smith Rowe has grown into this game a little bit. And you can see that they've come into this with good confidence.
Was it too much respect
early
on?
Without doubt. It's a concern for them. They're playing against the master Pep. Here they got the ball back again.
Haaland edge of the penalty area, square to Reinders, left edge of the D. Reinders has to keep hold of possession. He flicks a lovely ball through to Doku, and Haaland is there, and he's blocked off at the last moment by Berger tracking back. Crucial block in front of the goalkeeper, otherwise Haaland would have made it too.
It was, and he stood on his own in the box again. Just interesting, he's not limping now, is he? When you see Haaland, as soon as he gets an opportunity to run in, I think there might have been a tad offside there, shall we say, Doku, but a lovely little flick from Reinders.
And a very important block by Berger, but as Martin was saying, we've had a look at it again, and Doku was in an offside position a yard or so it wouldn't have counted anyway. Manchester City have a 1-0 lead in a fixture that they traditionally absolutely dominate. Haaland, lovely ball through the middle. Reinders could be clear. Reinders for 2. Dinks it over Bernd Leno. And it is 2 for Manchester City. Yet again they come to Craven Cottage and they take Fulham apart. And Tiani Reinders so precise with the finish. Lovely ball through the middle by Erling Haaland. Reinders able to draw the goalkeeper. Little dink over the top of him. A beautifully worked goal. And Manchester City closing the gap on the leaders Arsenal. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2.
Again, it's emphatic play. Really strong from Haaland. He just bullies people there. Just plays a straight ball for Reinders to run onto. He's in the 10. He makes a really good movement. There's a pathway right through the middle of that team, and there's lovely little dink over the goalkeeper Leno as he comes out. But you can't help think that they've just allowed Man City to set their stall out. They've been just almost like a passenger for large periods of this first half, Fulham, and they totally deserve Man City to be winning right now, and it's very, very comfortable.
Well, Reinders with his first goal since the opening weekend of the season. You might remember he scored in that big win for Manchester City at Wolves. He's scored tonight, and yet another goal for Manchester City at Craven Cottage, and Marco Silva taking copious notes on the far side touchline, but there appears to be no way back for Fulham at this point. 18 wins in a row in all competitions, and 15 in a row victories for Manchester City in the Premier League, and the aggregate score now, Martin, in that 16th Premier League game is now 46-8 to Manchester City, so it is as dominant as one club could be over another. Yeah,
obviously it's always very nice, isn't it? A nice hotel in Fulham, and you just come out in this nice green space amongst all the housing on the side of the river, and it's just a nice evening or day out for Pep and his boys.
It feels like it, as Fulham get a free kick on the edge of the centre circle.
What a beautiful part of the world.
It is
certainly is for City.
One of the best walk-ups of any ground in the country, that's for sure, through Bishop's Park on your way up. But you're right, it's a fixture that Manchester City just seem to love.
I'm pretty certain that Marco Silva will either get into the players or make a couple of changes maybe at the half-time. I can't see him sticking with this.
Smith Rowe out on the left, gets the return ball from Sessegnon, left edge of the penalty area, but he doesn't shoot early enough. He was blocked off in the end by Foden. Good work rate from Manchester City. Everybody back behind the ball. Iwobi nearly threaded it through down the right here for Wilson, and then Tete makes a tackle on Doku. Nico O'Reilly will keep it in the left back position, hoists a high long ball downfield, and it's headed away by Anderson. So Haaland has scored one and set up the other tonight. Berger, square ball to Sessegnon on this near side the left. Now Smith Rowe back to the halfway line, and Bassi. There doesn't seem to have been the same level of belief in Fulham as there perhaps has been in other home matches this season, and at home they've generally had a very good record. Iwobi on halfway has tried to nudge it back to Tete, but across comes Doku. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2, with 5 minutes of the first half to go on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they are here for it. It's goalless at the Vitality in the Premier League. And Bournemouth 0, Everton 0. And Newcastle against Tottenham is underway in about 5 minutes over on Talksport tonight. Best way to be across all of the exclusive Premier League football that we've got today, tomorrow and on Thursday is to download our free app. And it's also worth saying that the Drive team are in New York and Washington this week for the World Cup draw, which is on Friday. So we'll find out who England have got on Friday, and Scotland as well. Well, Manchester City in cruise control here, really. Some of the Fulham fans around us are heading for the concourse areas, and Manchester City, it feels so routine this, even though we haven't yet reached half-time, Martin.
No, but they have been in front, haven't they? We've talked about that before, 2 up on a few occasions this season.
Yep, you're right.
Thinking, maybe Monaco was what they were, certainly 2-1 up in that. They were 2-0 up at the weekend. I can't for the minute think that Pep's going to allow that to creep into them again, to get complacent in some way or other. Maybe obviously Marco Silva might just think, well, okay, there's a lot of work went into their recent wins, and there's a lot of good movement. I watched their previous matches painstakingly, and I like the look of it. So I was disappointed they didn't go with that, and as a result, they find themselves 2-0 down here.
Bernardo Silva has moved across to the right back position near side for Manchester City, and now Foden midway inside his own half the field, tucked forward by Reinders, and Foden in a tight area, back to Nunes, sweeping ball over the top, that's very precise towards Haaland. Haaland with his back to goal, it hit Anderson on its way over his shoulder. Kenny Tete is able to clear for Fulham, only as far as Nico Gonzalez. Quick ball forward to Reinders, back to goal, turns away from two brilliantly. Haaland now is offside, coming back from an offside position.
What's interesting is that the signature of this Pep team is, we've looked at them, haven't we, for a number of years now, the way they pass the ball beautifully, slick passing, and it's back in vogue for them again. They're passing the ball really well. This time it's Foden. I can't tell you how convinced I am with him tonight.
Doku's pull back, and it's turned behind by the retreating Berger. And a corner to Manchester City, who are 2-0 up. For the latest odds, head to William Hill, our official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage. Right now, a Fulham comeback at 45-1. Manchester City to win 1-20. The draw 14-1. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18 plus gambleaware.org. And Liam Gallagher is among the interested spectators tonight.
Well,
back of the away end, Martin.
He is. He'd be very proud of his team. I'm just wondering where the England manager is tonight.
In by Reinders, punched away from the corner by Leno, comes out to Phil Foden, sets himself and bends it into the top corner. Another magnificent goal from Phil Foden, who continues this extraordinary hot streak. And that might be the best goal of the lot tonight for Manchester City. You saw it the moment it dropped to him on the edge of the penalty area that the shot was on. A couple of touches out of his feet. He bends it beyond the top Premier League goalkeeper in Leno, who had no chance whatsoever. Phil Foden back to his best, and surely right back in the England reckoning. Fulham 0, Manchester City 3. A fabulous goal from Foden.
Well, right on cue there, I'm saying, where's the England manager, Thomas Tuchel? And if you're watching, take a look at me, because do you know what, that is absolute class. I'm gonna recede this edge of the box, and I'm enjoying myself right now. I'll just put left foot outside of the left foot. I'll send it outside of the post, and I'll just bring it back in time. And that is a piece of cake for me, because I'm in unbelievable form. Take a bow there, Phil Foden. He's now going to another level.
Big smile, Phil Foden, as we go into 2 added minutes, or we will go into 2 added minutes very shortly at the end of the first half here. But Phil Foden, one of Manchester City's own. Are you watching Thomas Tuchel? Are you listening, Thomas Tuchel, to Talksport 2? Because he really is producing these moments of magic in every game that he plays, and he looks like he's enjoying his football to me so much, Martin.
Well, the press conferences now are very much about him. I think he's enjoying the renewed love from his manager. Of course, not last season, but the season before, he scored 19 goals, I think it was, and now he looks like he's running the show for them.
Good sliding challenge, tracking back there by Gvardiol, and Donnarumma can't prevent the corner. It's Fulham corner on the far side, and they're right, their third of the game so far. And they are 3-0 down to Manchester City in this game. Well, it effectively feels over already as a contest, barring an extraordinary Fulham comeback, but that just doesn't tend to happen in this fixture. There'll be a corner which Wilson will take now. One arm up into the air. It'll be left-footed and in-swinging, plenty forward in wide. Wilson into the near post, and it's poor. Deliveries have been poor from Fulham so far. No counter-attack for Manchester City yet. Iwobi slid it down the right. Foden's right-footed cross. Smith Rowe with the header. Brilliant goal. Beautiful header from Emil Smith Rowe. Pulled back by Wilson, and Smith Rowe just guided that ball beyond the statuesque Donnarumma. And in first half stoppage time, Fulham have won back. Fulham 1, Manchester City 3.
Well, credit to Fulham for getting back into this game, but this shouldn't be happening from Man City. Originally the ball's out wide, it gets recycled. We're just checking it's onside. It is. Great ball in from Wilson, and he's a long way out there, and somehow he manages to shape and bend his neck muscles, really. He's got his good pace on the ball, and he just steers it into that far corner. Donnarumma, even with his frame, can't get anywhere near it.
Well, Martin, Pepper's just angrily taken it out of his water bottle. He's thrown it down, and he was in conversation with his assistants before Fulham took that corner. And Fulham are on the attack again, right at the end of first half stoppage time here. There were 3 added minutes. Out on the right-hand side is Lukic. Lukic is going to play it back to Berger. 25-30 yards out now. Tete on the far side of the field. Tete prods it backwards to Anderson. Well, maybe this is a rejuvenated Fulham, who knows? Iwobi is out on the left. Iwobi's ball infield to Smith Rowe. Back out wide to Iwobi again. Live with the edge of the penalty area. Good cross. Headed away, though, this time by Ruben Dias. And scooped into the air and into touch by Reinders. Well, from a neutral's perspective and from a Fulham perspective, there's something in this game now.
There is, and you just can see that City now suddenly ruffled, and they just kicked the ball into the stand. That's not a City way to play. You've got to be calm in possession. So they're a little bit ruffled here.
And Bournemouth lead Everton by a goal to nil. Live on the Talksport app tonight, El Junior Krupi has scored for Bournemouth in first half stoppage time. 3-1 to Manchester City here.
Fans are screaming, they want the ball pushed forward earlier. It kind of like they don't have any real direction, Fulham.
Well, that is half time, and Marco Silva marches determinedly across towards the tunnel. Away to our left-hand side, below the famous cottage. Erling Haaland has got his 100th Premier League goal. Beautifully taken. First time left-footed shot to make it 1-0 to Manchester City. The quickest player to ever reach 100 Premier League goals, Haaland. The quickest any player has got to that landmark. Tierney Reinders made it 2, set up by Haaland. Another fine goal followed shortly afterwards. Phil Foden with a 5th goal in 5 starts for Manchester City, and just beautifully curled into the corner. But Emile Smith Rowe has pulled one back at the end of the first half, and so Manchester City's lead maybe not as secure as it should have been, Martin Keown.
Yeah, that will worry the manager. You could see him sat there with his assistant that he brought in from Liverpool, and he's already, you can see he's in his ear. Look, we've got to make sure we keep a clean sheet. And that sometimes, they've not looked rock solid this season at the back. And if you're a defender, you're like, okay, you guys get all the plaudits, now it's our turn. And they won't be happy that they conceded going in, but they've totally dominated this game. And to be fair, I think it's on Marco Silva now to look at the tactics and make a change, and probably see 1 or 2 changes at half-time. Some of those players you were talking about that probably should have started this game tonight on reflection will probably come on now in the second half.
Quite a lot to talk about, Martin, in that first half. I mean, first of all, Erling Haaland, 100th Premier League goal, and it was fitting that it came in the manner that it did, because it was a classic thunderous Haaland finish.
It was, and it's like, 3 really good passes, and then he almost passes it into the net in that predator fashion. I've elected to look at the defenders and question, where is the marking? You're playing against one of the all-time great goal scorers, and you give him that kind of room, but you have to give Haaland credit. He just floats off of defenders when they least expect it, and then he has the finish. And let's not forget, he hit the post when he was clean through on goal. Again, Foden put him in. He really should have scored, didn't bother him. He was back there again for another opportunity, and put it away emphatically. Well,
and Phil Foden, I mean, what can we say that hasn't already been said? His run of form in front of goal is extraordinary, but it's not just been about the goal for Phil Foden so far tonight.
No, it's those sort of in between, the positions on the pitch. He's in between the lines. It's his body shape when he receives it. It's his picture. He's scanning around the pitch. Always got a pass on, and he seems to have simplified his game. He's not running with the ball, but he's a really good link, and he gets them out of trouble they transfer the ball really well around him, and then the goal is it's pure class, the goal, and he makes it look so easy. There's a man at the top of his game right now and enjoying every moment.
And Martin Keown, thank you very much for now. Much more from Martin to come in the second half here on Talksport 2. It is Fulham 1, Manchester City 3 at half-time.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
This Christmas, McDonald's and the Elf on the Shelf are bringing festive tasks to your little ones, like writing a Christmas card for your postie.
Thank you. You're one happy helper.
Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. until the 30th of December from 11am. Includes one pre-selected book or toy while stocks last. Subject to availability. Fair ordering policy applies.
Incredible scenes here at the Village Hotel's Pub and Grill. Fans are taking their place in the fan zone with stadium-style seating, amazing views on huge screens, and we're underway. Lovely bit of dribbling there as she tackles the burger stack. Now they're getting down the wings. Sticky barbecue. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's hit the bar. And it's there. His favourite ice-cold beer. What a result. Catch every game live in the Pub and Grill at Village. Get in. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a tree, playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Oh, he's really opened up the Sun newspaper there, Jim. No question, Clive. Straight in the middle and right into the free pull-out goals. Goals, yes. The ultimate football coverage with the best expert writers. In-depth tactical analysis. Unrivaled coverage from every league and all the latest football action. Think you've said it all there, Clive. Sorry, Jim. Not to worry, I was reading my copy of Goals anyway. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday only in the Sun.
It's another day at Screwfix, and Mo Farah is learning the ropes.
So, Mo, with Click and Collect, we get orders ready fast. So customers are out of here and back to their jobs in as little as 1 minute. What are you doing?
Deep lunges. It's my warm-up. I need to be in peak condition for when orders come in.
Love that intensity, Mo. Laser focused. You might even have what it takes to beat my PB one day.
Back in the Mo.
Click and collect in as little as 1 minute. Screwfix. No stopping you.
Same.
Ho, ho, ho.
Same.
3, 2, 1.
Same.
Oh, thanks.
Same.
What does Santa call his dog?
Same. Same.
One word. 3 syllables.
Same. Same.
Sorry, it's a bit dry.
New plates.
Ooh.
Treat your table to something different this Christmas. Visit your local IKEA now. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream over 50 live Premier League games flexibly with Now. Search Now Sports 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Talksport Podcast League. Outspoken, the best of White and Jordan.
Now available in one unmissable daily podcast.
He's going to be in charge for a considerable period of time.
It's a load of old pony.
The final word on the final scores with Jim Mighty White.
I really mean this with sincerity.
And Simon the Saint Jordan.
What on earth have you got?
I think I look like the Saint. I think it's a Simon Temple outlook. I expected to hear the na-na-na-na-na-na.
Outspoken. Out now.
Listen or download for free from your favourite podcast portal.
Get updates on the teams and squads, plus all the latest betting odds. All it takes is just one tap. Kill boredom dead with the Talksport app.
The Talksport app. Hear, watch and scroll unbeatable content from the world's biggest sports radio station. Whenever you want, wherever you want. Available from the App Store now. Terms and conditions apply.
It's the totally immersive football experience.
All too easy. Premier League, live on Talksport 2.
Look, Foden's in again.
Foden dancing up the middle and playing it into the path of Haaland. Is this his moment? He's hit the post. It looked for all the world it was going to end up in the back of the net, and finally he would have that century of Premier League goals.
I mean, it's a glaring miss when you consider the quality that he's got, but that was just a knife through butter.
Manchester City and Erling Haaland has hit the woodwork for the 13th time in the Premier League. Here he is again! Left-footed shot is in! That's the one he wanted! Erling Haaland, left-footed from the middle of the penalty area, and finally he is a member of the Premier League's 100 club.
You can't give him that time and space in the box, otherwise he'd destroy you. He was already missed one earlier on the hit the post. There was no way he was going to miss that one.
Haaland, lovely ball through the middle. Reinders could be clear. Reinders for 2, dinks it over Bernd Leno, and it is 2 for Manchester City. Yet again they come to Craven Cottage and they take Fulham apart.
they totally deserve Man City to be winning right now, and it's very, very comfortable.
In by Reinders, punched away from the corner by Leno, comes out to Phil Foden, sets himself and bends it into the top corner. Another magnificent goal from Phil Foden, who continues this extraordinary hot streak. It won't be slid it down the right. Smith Rowe with the header, brilliant goal. Beautiful header from Emil Smith Rowe. Fulham 1, Manchester City 3. An entertaining first half at Craven Cottage. We've had some history. Erling Haaland's 100 Premier League goal. Phil Foden with another in a Manchester City shirt. And of course Reinders in between all of that. But Fulham back in it. So maybe it's not quite the foregone conclusion that some would have expected. Fulham 1, Manchester City 3. You're listening to Premier League Live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they are here for it. Half times elsewhere. Bournemouth 0, Everton 0. Bournemouth thought they were in front just before half-time, live on the Talksport app, but it was ruled out after a VAR check, so goalless at the Vitality. In the Championship, late in the first half, Blackburn 0, Ipswich 0. Ipswich, who in the Championship are 2 points off the playoffs at the start of the evening. Wigan lead Burton in a clash of two strugglers in League One. Barcelona 1, Atletico Madrid 1. In La Liga in an 8 o'clock kickoff tonight. And in the 8:15 Premier League game, Newcastle 0, Tottenham 0 in the early stages. That is live right now over on Talksport. And don't forget, every single Premier League game this midweek is live on the network. You don't have to go anywhere else for your fill of Premier League football. Well, Fulham have got it all to do in the second half. One man who's been kept busy is the goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. Earlier this week, our very own Anil Kandola sat down with the man himself, who was full of praise for his manager, Marco Silva.
He's a fantastic manager. I think when you see the numbers, what he got out of the Fulham team or what he has been building here at Fulham when I came, we have a completely different team, we have a completely different mindset. Tactically, we are much better. The mentality and everything. So it's absolutely brilliant what he has done to the Fulham club, and I think everyone has to appreciate him, like every fan, what he's doing here. And you can see the hunger, the fire he has every day here, because whenever you switch off or you relax a little bit, he's in your neck. He's and everything, and I think that shows his mentality, his ambition. And all that stuff. He's a fantastic manager, and unfortunately, at some point, he will leave, because I'm pretty sure that he will be in one of the biggest clubs in the world, because he deserves it. And but as I said, everyone at Fulham Football Club is so happy that he's here, and hopefully he will stay here for even longer.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've only got a couple of questions, because I know you're a very busy man. You have to prepare for Manchester City on the horizon, as I've said. What would you say Fulham's ambitions are this season? You know, as I've already said, you know, one win can leapfrog you 4, 5, 6 places in the Premier League, and then you start to really believe and see that potentially even Champions League spots would be available. So, what would you say is the ambition, and have they perhaps changed when you've realised how crazy this season has been for everyone?
The ambition of the club has changed a lot, I think. Also last season we played the best season of the club in the history. But we also spoke about that it was more possible. So I think even Europe was last season possible, because we dropped some points. We were a little bit inconsistent at the end, around like March, April. So you can see it's all about details and margins and all that stuff. But I think our target is to have even more points than last season. I think that's possible, because we have to grow as a team, as an individual, like all the individual players and everything. I think that would be a fantastic season. But we don't really speak about all that stuff. We spoke about that at the beginning of the season, in preseason. But I think now we have so many games. We have to focus on the City, Sunday Palace, and then we play, I think Burnley, then the Carabao Cup. So we have so many games. We don't really have time to think about it. And I think it's not good for us and everything. So maybe we can review after the winter, after the December time or January time. And as I said, we go game by game now.
Well, that's Bernd Leno, Fulham's overworked goalkeeper tonight. Lots of praise for Marco Silva, though, as Martin Keown was pointing out to me while we were listening to that interview, he's not got a good record against Pep Guardiola, to say the least. Guardiola, Martin, has won all 15 managerial meetings with Marco Silva, and that goes back to the time when Silva was in charge at Olympiacos. So you look at the head-to-head between the two clubs, the head-to-head between the two managers, Marco Silva, well, Pep Guardiola's got his number, hasn't he? I think it's fair to say.
Well, exactly that. And, you know, the tactics coming into the game now, we're hearing there may be a couple of changes at half-time. Maybe you want to talk through what you have heard from your contacts.
Well, we've got Timothy Castagna and Samuel Chukwueze coming onto the field for Fulham, and off go Kenny Tete and Sasa Lukic. So Castagna for Tete you would think is like for like, but Chukwueze for Lukic is probably the interesting one, because that might allow Alex Iwobi to move into that more central role, Martin, that you were saying he should have started in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for Lukic, it was quite difficult for him to come into this game, not featured for a while. Iwobi playing out on the left was involved in all their good stuff. So I expect now that change will be made. And I suppose the managers are accepting that didn't work. It's very obvious from the sideline. And, you know, that's not a proud record, is it? But look, he's a decent manager. He's got them promoted. He's been here a number of years. There's lots of talk about will he sign, won't he? I still feel that someone they should be keeping here. A little bit of inconsistency. He seems to go on major runs of winning games, and then, you know, it wasn't long ago when they were just above the bottom 5 here in the Premier League. He's turned that around. So, no, it's very mixed from him at the moment. So to make those changes for the game was surprising.
Well, the two substitutions have been made now for the second half. Fulham are 3-1 down. You're listening to Talksport 2, and the second half is about to get underway. It is underway now. Fulham from left to right, all in white, and Manchester City from right to left towards the Putney end, and they are all in black. So Fulham with those two changes, Leno in goal, Castagna, Anderson, Bassi and Sessegnon the back four, Berger, and we can see that Alex Iwobi has dropped into a more central role now in midfield. Wilson on the right, Chukwueze on the left, and Smith Rowe in behind, Jimenez up front. And for Manchester City, peerless for the most part so far in the game. Donnarumma is the goalkeeper. Nunes, Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly are the back four. They've got some defending to do here, Manchester City, early in the second half. Lots of Fulham fans still returning to their seats, but Berger is going to have to go back to the halfway line. Bernardo Silva, Nico Gonzalez and Tiani Reinders in the midfield three. Foden and Doku in support of Haaland up front. And Haaland has got that 100th Premier League goal tonight, and it's 5 goals and as many starts for Phil Foden, who is on an excellent run of form, a run of form that really will put him into the thoughts of Thomas Tuchel, you would think. So 3-1 to Manchester City early in the second half, and here's Martin Keown.
Well, it looked crisper in this second half. I think the changes, and whatever it is about Iwobi in there, he's playing with a great deal of freedom, and I think Lukic was just a little bit safe, but Iwobi will try to open things up. It's still risky, Man City pressing really high here, having to go long, but they do look a little bit sharper, brighter at the start of the second half, Fulham.
Work to do for Fulham against a Manchester City team who just don't lose leads from 3-0 ahead. But Fulham have got one back just before half-time, and here they come early in the second half with Castagna down the near side to right. His first real involvement, the former Leicester man, and he wins a throw on the near side touchline. Fulham 1, Manchester City 3 on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. Out on the left is Sessegnon. Back to Iwobi, and now Chukwueze in an infield position. Wriggles away from Nico Gonzalez, but can't find a teammate inside the penalty area. Manchester City counter now with Reinders over halfway. Doku running away on the near side, the left. He's trying to jink beyond Castagna. He's got on the inside now, plays it through towards Haaland, got a touch on it. Foden to the back post, scores! 4 for Manchester City. Another for Phil Foden, unmarked to the far post. and Manchester City regain their 3-goal advantage just 2.5 minutes into the second half, and surely now there's no doubt that Manchester City will do it to Fulham again. Fulham 1, Manchester City 4, and Foden is now on a hat-trick.
Well, great play again from City. It was almost as if they'd swapped places. In the first half, we saw Fulham on the counter-attack. The start of the second half was all Fulham, but they just broke from one end of the pitch to the other. And again, this is Foden now on his right-hand side of the goal, or left-hand side of the goal, with his right foot, and he just dinks it over Leno. And you know, they've scored 4 goals, and Leno still to make a save in this match. So clinical has been the finishing. It's Doku on that left-hand side. He's just toying, isn't he, with Castagna. Lovely little ball played in, and it's just it comes to Foden, a bit fortuitous. But what about the finish? You know, this time it's the right foot. No lack of confidence. Keeper, well, I think the keeper should do maybe a tad better for this one. But look at that for a finish.
Well, it's a sort of right-footed chip over the goalkeeper, isn't it, from Foden at the far post with the angle slightly against him. 4-1 to Manchester City, just 4 minutes into the second half, and City chasing down Martin's former club Arsenal at the top. Arsenal, Brentford tomorrow night on Talksport. That's Arsenal's game in hand, so they can restore their 5-point advantage, but there's surely no doubt now that Manchester City will win this game. But what a disappointment for Fulham after the half-time changes, and many in the crowd will have missed that goal because they're only just returning to their seats.
Yeah, and they've had to open it up, and they've just exposed themselves at the back. But as I say, with Haaland just running loose in that middle of the pitch, he just looks awesome at times, and Foden is just a joy for Foden right now.
He is on a hat-trick, Foden. Doku looking for the underlapping run of Nico O'Reilly. It's smuggled away by Fulham's Harry Wilson. Wilson in the right-back position, and nobody would have expected this of Fulham, given the recent run that they've been on. 3 wins from 4 wins from 5 at home in the Premier League, and of course the away victory at Tottenham over the weekend. But Marco Silva looks very glum-faced in the technical area at the moment.
Well, he'll know that he's got it wrong, and that can happen. He took a gamble, tried to be more compact, and actually all he did was open it up for City. I think if they can get another one, then they'll ring the changes. So what did we talk about? 7 games in the month of December. So if we've got our figures right, so look, need to make sure we use some of those squad players who he literally dumped off the pitch this time last week in the Champions League.
Oh, and a loose back pass by Bassi. Leno taps it further forward towards Anderson. He nearly got on the end of that, did Erling Haaland, as Timothy Castagna steers the ball forward for City up towards the halfway line, for Fulham up towards the halfway line, and there's a foul on Raul Jimenez. 26,700 here tonight at Craven Cottage beneath the lights, and the rain has stopped. We had heavy rain for much of the first half, and it's been raining goals for Manchester City so far tonight, and Fulham look somewhat shell-shocked by that goal early in the second half from Foden to make it 4-1 to the team all in black, Manchester City. Iwobi scampers over the halfway line for Fulham. He's got Chukwueze to his left-hand side. Iwobi has run 40-50 yards into the penalty area. Angle tight, picks out Wilson at the back post. He lays it square. Raul Jimenez blocked. Well blocked by Nico Gonzalez. And he's saying that it hit him where it really hurts. He's saying it's not a handball. Out on the right is Wilson again. Led with the edge of the penalty area, back infield to Berger. Maybe the chance is still just about on for Fulham here. Anderson is a long way out. Square ball to Berger again. Fulham trying to keep up the momentum of the attack. Castagna looks for Smith Rowe, who couldn't get on the end of it, and it's hoisted away by Joško Gvardiol. Was it handball, Martin, or
no? I think it was the leg. No, I know you said it was somewhere else, but I think making a meal of that, to be honest. But anyway, he cleared it.
Well, he looks a bit discomforted here, Nico Gonzalez, but certainly didn't look like handball. Smith Rowe, edge of the D, tries to place one in the top corner, and that sails over the bar and into the Hammersmith end.
Well, I think with the changes that they made, they do look slicker in the final third. Just getting treatment now, isn't he, Diaz?
Well, it was
it Nico who's gone down?
Nico Gonzalez, yeah. And I think it is, honestly, Martin, because of that block that he's made from Raul Jimenez. But it's a decent response for Fulham. Emil Smith Rowe then following that up with a curler over the top of the crossbar, but he has got on the score sheet tonight. can see Pep Guardiola in conversation with Haaland on that far side of the field. They're standing just in front of the Riverside stand. I wonder what sort of thing is being said.
Just watching a replay here of the good interchange play, and then it is a very good block. Whatever he gets in the way of it was important.
And he's done enough there, Nico Gonzalez, and he's back on his feet again. Fulham trying to attack straight away as Manchester City restart play, but Bernardo Silva always calm and such a fluid, elegant presence on the ball. Bernardo Silva square it into Foden. Foden in the left-back position has rolled it up to Haaland. A brilliant ball by Foden from a tight area. Now Bernardo Silva missed midway inside his own territory. Little flick by Nico Gonzalez away from Smith Rowe. They played some lovely stuff tonight, Manchester City, and they're 4-1 up. We haven't even played 10 minutes of the second half yet. Doku, left corner of the penalty area, deflection on his pass in field, and it's going to be cleared away by Anderson. Straight back to Doku. Doku with the jinking touch, and a deflected shot, and it's gone in for 5. Doku with a deflected curling shot, loops over Leno, and it's more misery for Fulham here, but it's a magnificent night for Manchester City. Yet another emphatic victory for them on the banks of the Thames, and now Jeremy Doku has got it on the act. We were right behind that. Double deflection over the top of the goalkeeper, who had little chance. Fulham 1, Manchester City 5, and this really is turning into a rout.
It is. And great for Doku's confidence as well. We're right behind that, and it definitely takes a deflection and then loops over Leno. Again, not making a save yet in this game. 5 times he's gone to the net to pick the ball out of the back, and just takes a deflection off Berg and then just sails in over the top of the goalkeeper. But again, you know, he's so direct and so elusive. He wriggles when he comes at you. He opens his body out, gets a bit lucky, and then it hits the back of the net. Surely now that's the signal for some changes.
Well, the City fans behind the goal away to our left, Martin, are doing the pause now. All 2,000 of them.
Well, that's right. It's bringing back old times, and very quickly Pepper's started to rebuild this team. And, you know, obviously on the road it hasn't been what he'd have wanted, but he cannot complain tonight.
And some Fulham fans are leaving already. But it is only 8:45, so lots of time to do something else with your evening, I suppose. Fulham fans, some of them, not many, but some of them heading for the exits already.
Yeah, a few restaurants round about, isn't there? Nice wine bars. I think they'll probably be seeing enough, some of the people near us.
We are in a nice part of London as Berger rolls the ball back to Leno, who will be as bewildered as anybody in front of him by the number of efforts on goal, and they've just about all ended up in the back of the net. 5-1 to Manchester City, so they reduced the gap from 5 points to 2 in terms of the league leaders Arsenal. Brentford tomorrow on Talksport at 7:30. 8:15 on Talksport 2, Liverpool against Sunderland, and on the app it'll be Leeds against Chelsea. That's the Talksport app tomorrow night. I'll remind you of our other app commentaries in a moment, as Wilson's deflected cross is cleared away, only as far as Iwobi, who steers it into the bottom corner. Brilliant strike from Iwobi, running onto it first time right-footed, and he just planted it beyond the dive of Donnarumma, and Fulham have got one back. It's surely only a consolation goal, but it really is a night where it's raining goals at Craven Cottage. Fulham 2, Manchester City 5.
Well, Wilson tries to find the far post, and it bounces just to the edge of the box. It comes on to Iwobi beautifully, and do you know, this is a really good finish from a player that's really in top form right now. We know he's been at Arsenal and Everton and a number of clubs. Probably now, look, in that central position, look what he can do. He should have been there from the off in this game.
Absolutely right, because he wouldn't have been in that position had he been playing on the left wing like he was in the first half. And a fine strike to beat a goalkeeper of Donnarumma's ability and reach. So it's Fulham 2, Manchester City 5, but Manchester City racing through the middle, 4 against 4, and for once Foden actually makes a misstep with that pass up the middle. It evades Erling Haaland, and Fulham have possession back again. Well, what an entertaining night on the Thames it is.
Well, that's I'm actually shocked that Foden's given the ball away.
He's been faultless up until that point. Faultless Foden. 5-2 Manchester City. Bournemouth 0, Everton 0 in the Premier League, live on the Talksport app tonight. The ball is hoisted up towards the edge of the Manchester City penalty area, bounces down towards the dead ball line. Harry Wilson is there, and what's the decision of the referee? It's goal kick at the Hammersmith end. And I suppose what we have also seen tonight, Martin, despite Manchester City's excellent finishing going forward, is that vulnerability defensively. They've conceded 2 to Leeds United at the weekend, and it probably won't make any difference to the game. It is very unlikely to, but they have conceded 2 here tonight.
Yeah, and it's that sloppiness. We're just looking here to see if the referee got that right, and I think he probably did. I think it came off Wilson. But no, it's obviously when you want to be champions, you've got to be perfect in all areas, and you can't really say that this back four is the best in the Premier League, and it looks a little bit, maybe I would say that it lacks a little bit of pace. Gvardiol down the middle and Diaz at times, and sometimes they're looking at the ball and not really clearing it and dealing with things. They always have to try and play out, and occasionally they lose it.
And he looks quite uncomfortable, Guardiola, on the touchline at the moment. Here come Fulham with Smith Rowe over halfway, socks rolled down his shins. Smith Rowe with a square pass to Berger. Fulham 2, Manchester City 5 in a goal-laden match here at Craven Cottage, and we haven't yet had an hour. Early ball in towards Raul Jimenez with a shot, and it's straight at Donnarumma. He was in an offside position anyway. Well, that would have been interesting.
It was, and now you can see Pep saying, come on, calm down, let's get tighter. It's interesting, actually, if Fulham score the next goal, we're not saying this game is, well, maybe it is dead, but if there's another goal from Fulham sometime soon, it could be getting interesting.
Well, who knows? Is the comeback on? That Doku goal has actually now been given as a Sander Berger own goal, which feels a little harsh on balance, but Doku's deflected effort, own goal off Berger.
Well, it wasn't going in, shall we say. I could see that perfectly from here, so I suppose they're just doing their job.
So, no goal for Doku, but it is 5-2 to Manchester City. Núñez away down the right-hand side, he can't keep it in. It'll be a goal kick for Fulham. Blackburn 0, Ipswich 0. Early stages of the second half in the Championship, and Wigan 1, Burton 0 is the latest score. John Stones is going to come on shortly for Manchester City. Here is Smith Rowe, just shy of the halfway line. Back now to Castagna and Anderson. Edge of his own penalty area, Iwobi, who struck that ball beautifully for Fulham's second of the night.
And he's having more touches of the ball than any other Fulham player. He's the one, you've got to get him on the ball. Play him in that midfield area.
Well, it will be interesting to hear Marco Silva's comments after the game, especially if Fulham, as we expect, are beaten. Harry Wilson in swinging from the right-hand side. High ball, Raul Jimenez has brought it down, and it's turned over the top by Núñez. It's a corner to Fulham.
Another word on Smith Rowe, by the way. I think he's done really well in this game. Just starting to tire, though, a little bit. And again, he's involved in the build-up, and it's a good ball into the box. Jimenez makes a really good, well-timed run, and he's trying to bring it on his chest to try and hit it, and then Diaz makes the clearance.
Well, they're throwing everything at it now, Fulham. And the Hammersmith end is on its feet, and suddenly they have some momentum in the game. Wilson and Iwobi standing over it. Iwobi's in swinging corner, headed away at the near post. It'll drop down to Chukwueze on the half volley. Takes a bobble, deflected away. Bassi with his back to goal, edge of the penalty area now. Right of centre, Calvin Bassi shaping to try a curling shot. He instead finds Chukwueze, who can't spin away from Bernardo Silva. And now the counter is on for Manchester City. Jeremy Doku darting down the left-hand side, beaten to it by Sessegnon, who will roll it back to goalkeeper Leno. Well, Martin Keown, you might be right. If Fulham were to score in the next 10 minutes, it would be an interesting test of Manchester City.
I mean, and at any moment, City, by the way, could go and score another one. But you can't help thinking that this is probably the 11 that should have started the game. And I think the thing is, I think Smith Rowe now is just running out of steam a little bit, and they might not have enough to do it. But it's certainly more gallant, and it's what you'd expect to see when you're up against. You've got to give it a go, and they certainly weren't even in the game in the first half.
Well, there's going to be a double change for Manchester City, we think. We'll confirm that for you in just a moment. Berger for Fulham, Tall, strident midfield player, poked forward by Castagna down the Fulham right. Smith Rowe was chasing, it's cleared away by Gvardiol. This is Talksport 2. Fulham 2, Manchester City 5, but Fulham having a good spell in the game all of a sudden. Castagna has nudged the ball into the penalty area. Raul Jimenez chasing O'Reilly, and the Fulham fans are fuming because the flag is up. I can only assume for an offside, but it didn't look to be the case in the build-up there.
It certainly looked fine from the angle that we have. We'll get a replay maybe in a moment. There's a couple of changes coming here, as you say, from Man City.
But it's Savinho and Stones. And off goes Nico Gonzalez. And so too Jeremy Doku. So like for Manchester City, you would think. Stones will play in midfield and Savinho out to the left. So no goal for Doku. Ultimately, it was adjudged to have been an own goal retrospectively by Sander Berge, but playing a big part in the fifth of the night. And Savinho honours his replacement. Stones for Nico Gonzalez, Martin.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, Nico has played a lot of games. I was looking at him and he looked a little bit leggy. I don't think he's really the quickest. And we know that Stones can do this job. He has that ability, doesn't he, to sit in there. Now, I think at the beginning of his career at Man City, Pep was thinking to use him there. And of course, when they got the treble, quite often he arrived into that central midfield position. So, no, I think it's a useful player to have, Stones, but I'd like to see him use him more in that role.
Fulham 2, Manchester City 5 on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now, you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Newcastle against Tottenham live today. Search Now Sports, Newcastle, Tottenham, live on Talksport tonight. One of our 60 games of Christmas, the month of December and the festive period. Pep Guardiola I think he almost got in the way of the fourth official there. Busy technical areas here at Craven Cottage. Fulham on the attack. Chukwueze is away down the left-hand side. One-on-one with Nunes. Chukwueze looking lively as he did on Saturday at Tottenham. Good reverse ball by Iwobi. Sessegnon's pull back, dead ball line. Wilson brings it down, tries to lob it to the far post, and he gets it all wrong. And then the flag goes up anyway, maybe for an offside against Sessegnon in the build-up. Yeah, again, Iwobi finding the passes. This time he's on the left-hand side. He's got willing runners all around him. We're just looking to see if Sessegnon is offside. And yes, he is a couple of yards. The linesman really should have his flag up nice and early there, so it's ridiculous. Well, they say, don't they, that they want to wait until the end of the phase of play in case there's a mistake, but that was as clear an offside as you could possibly see on Sessegnon, and he's right in line with it. Tomorrow night on the Talksport app, we'll have commentary of Brighton against Aston Villa, Burnley against Crystal Palace, Wolves against Forest, and at 8:15, Leeds against Chelsea. And then on Thursday, we're at Old Trafford for Manchester United against West Ham. Here is Iwobi, middle of his own half. 65 minutes of an entertaining game have been played. 7 goals, 5 scored by the visitors. It's Chukwueze again, isn't it? He's getting into little pockets as well, which is now making City retreat because they can't press and get the ball. And this is much better from Fulham. Handbrake is well and truly off now. Where was this in the first half? Chukwueze wriggles away from 2 challenges. Wide to Castagna. Great low ball in. Raul Jimenez went for it, beaten by Ruben Diaz. Now Castagna with a left-footed cross into the penalty area. Higher this one. And it's knocked away on the volley by John Stones. Well, Fulham putting it all in to try and rescue what seems an impossible deficit. 3 goals behind still, but they look far more of an attacking threat in this second half. Well, I think they're just trying to get their reputation, and these are proud Fulham players. They've been a little bit embarrassed. The scoreline now is looking like Fulham are getting back into this game. But, look, this is where, when you want to be champions, as City do, you've got to be resolute, you've got to be well organised. I mean, Diaz makes a really good block, doesn't he, from the cross that comes in from Castagna. You've got to keep doing your job at the back. We're into the final quarter of the game now. Sessegnon with a glancing touch infield. It's going to be cleared away by Stones, and now Bernardo Silva trying to carry the ball forward. He runs into Bassi. Bassi out left, and Sessegnon can drive upfield. He's blocked off by Foden, who, remember, is still on the hat-trick, and Foden doesn't want to give him the loose ball. Now, surely that's delaying the restart. The referee doesn't take any further action. 5-2 to Manchester City here on Talksport 2 tonight. Goalless at both the Vitality and at St James's Park. Here is Nico O'Reilly up the left-hand side for Manchester City. He's driven nearly 50 yards now to the edge of the penalty area, tries to lay it square. Anderson back to the goalkeeper, and he gets the return ball, does Joachim Anderson, in the right-back position, and wins Fulham a throw.
Good run there from Riley. Down that left-hand side. It's very end-to-end stuff here. There's no real control in this game for Man City. I think that's where, in the good old days, I suppose, when they weren't that long ago, were they? When they were winning Premier Leagues.
They'd have just passed Fulham to death,
They controlled games, they sat on the ball, you know, not quite there at the moment for City. That side of the game.
It's a little too stretched for Pep Guardiola's liking, isn't it? You would imagine, as he patrols the touchline, hands in pockets on the far side. Donnarumma bowls the ball out underarm to Gvardiol. Now O'Reilly, left back position, first time pass infield to Reinders. Over halfway he goes, nudges it on to Savinho. Savinho shrugs aside the challenge of the much taller Berger. Foden into the centre circle now, and Stones
just trying to slow it down. And Foden, we talked about that free roll. He's right at the base of the midfield with alongside Stones now. Got to keep possession. It's just slow it down. Not being any kind of rush. City really should be just seeing this game through now.
Yes, with just over 20 minutes to go. Martin and I having to look either side of the pillar at the moment because the ball is in the centre circle. Reinders will knock it wide on the angle to Savinho. He's in a crossing position here. Haaland is in the middle. Savinho delivers. Haaland with the header off the post. And they were celebrating, some of the Manchester City fans. And for the second time tonight, and he can't believe it, Erling Haaland is denied by the woodwork.
Wow, I mean, I watched him running off the ball. He runs so fast and then he just pulls away and he's waiting and he leaps. I mean, great leap and power, and it hits the post or the bar. Incredible.
He's leapt majestically again to win it back. Foden with a chip over the top, too long for Savinho on the left-hand side, and it's a goal kick to Fulham. I mean, they could quite easily have scored 7 goals tonight, Manchester City.
Yeah, and Haaland, I mean, look, the way you're just seeing a little ball that he ran onto, and then he just waits. He's waiting as a predator, and then he just hangs in the air, beats the defender and hits the post, and it's great movement. It's so dynamic. I mean, look at the power of him. Look, how do you deal with that?
Majestic leap. Meanwhile, at the other end, Fulham on the attack with Chukwueze, playing from left to right here. Fulham, Chukwueze towards the corner flag, and he's teasing and twisting beyond Nunes. Back it goes to Iwobi to whip in the high cross, and it takes one bounce and goes behind. Still 5-2 to Manchester City.
Good ball in from Iwobi, and he'd be asking the question why Jimenez has not really got on the end of that. But they are, I think, with the substitutions, they're asking a lot more questions. I think he just gets blocked off it, actually, Jimenez.
Well, they're going to get Josh King on shortly, we're told, Fulham, for Smith Rowe. Goal kick taken by Manchester City a little slowly.
Yeah, and the players were going berserk there, and then the official suddenly woke up.
And took his time, did Donnarumma. Fulham win it back midway inside the Manchester City half, and it's with Smith Rowe, ever tenacious. Square ball to Iwobi, and now on to Sessegnon, left of centre. He's got Chukwueze further wide, hugging the touchline, back to Sessegnon again. It really does look like Iwobi can affect games so much more from the centre.
But where they're set up now, when you see Sessegnon particularly wants to get forward, these guys want to go attack. They don't want to defend.
5-2 down Fulham. They certainly need to attack with 18 minutes to go. Sasa Lukic as the rain returns to southwest London. Lukic out to the right wing position. Smith Rowe nudges it forward. Castagna drives it across the face of goal. Cleared away. Chukwueze smashes it in. Fulham have got another. It's 5-3 to Manchester City. And with 18 minutes to go, could the most extraordinary comeback somehow be on?
Well, I don't want this to be a case of I told you so, but we did say this man should be playing from the beginning, and boy, did he prove it with that strike. don't leave me on the bench again. That's what he's saying with his performance. And it's a wonderful strike. We're just checking to see if there's any offsides involved. He's cut back to the edge of the box. He comes onto it, does a little skip, a little shimmy, and then just strikes right through the ball. What a beautiful strike.
So from 5-1 to 5-3, 17 minutes to go. Are they checking it VAR? Now, I thought that Diaz was playing Castagna on. They are checking it, Martin Keown, for a possible offside in the build-up.
Yeah. Let's see. Of course.
Well, no offside in the initial pass.
Well, we assume
Anderson to Castagna.
We assume that. We're just looking at. I mean, obviously, it's very close. Is it the player at the top of the screen who's just a tad offside? But I think he's okay.
Well, I think Diaz is playing him on. I think that's fairly obvious looking at the replay that we have on our monitor at the moment. But VAR has freeze-framed it. This is the initial early ball, and Fulham are going to make a double substitution with Josh King and Jonah Kusi Asare coming on, a young Swedish player who's on loan from Bayern Munich, Kusi Asare. He's a big, tall centre forward. But still the VAR check continues, and all we've got at the moment, Martin Keown, is this freeze frame of what looks like Castagna clearly in an onside position with Ruben Diaz, for me, playing him on.
Yeah.
It's a long check.
It is a long check.
And this is crucial, isn't it? The game realistically hangs on this. The play goes on with Castagna, and then is there an offside in the build-up coming up now?
I think he's going to be okay now because they've run it on, haven't they? They've run it on, so this usually means that when he's onside there, I think it's Wilson actually, he makes 2 runs. I think he's going to be okay.
Castagna is being played onside, isn't he, by Ruben Diaz? It's quite tight, but you can see the left boot of Ruben Diaz, I think, is playing him on. But they're having a long look at this, the VAR. Fulham think they've made it 5-3. So a 5-3 lead for Manchester City, which was a 5-1 lead at one stage in the game. Chukwueze thinks he's got his goal. His first for Fulham it would be. This is a ridiculously long VAR check. And I'm sure that producer Sal will be able to tell us, because he often times these things, how long this has taken. But it is far too long, this. And we're looking at it again, Martin, and I'm convinced that Ruben Diaz's left boot plays on Castagna quite clearly here. Yeah. And the goal is given, finally. Well, here come the changes. Off goes Jimenez, on comes Jonah Kusi Asare, and Smith Rowe is replaced by Josh King. Fulham 3, Manchester City 5, Talksport 2. We've had 8 goals, Martin Keown, and there's 15 to go.
And Joe, just a little side point. You're a very good commentator, but maybe there's an opportunity in the VAR room for you, because you spotted that way back.
Should I be drawing the lines, Martin? Maybe that's the
don't
next
draw
step.
a line under your commentary career yet.
Well, that's very kind, as Manchester City get a throw. So that, Martin, Sal's just telling me 2 minutes 58 seconds, that VAR for, I mean, we could see.
Yes,
we could see.
The feeling was that it was okay, it was onside, but I mean, once they're embroiled in it, they can't say they're happy until they are conclusively. So there's that pressure, isn't there? But look, another long ball here.
Kusi Asare trying to reach it up the middle, looking for his first touch, still looking for his first senior goal, the youngster. Not really worked out for him at Fulham so far. They couldn't, could they, Fulham? Still got to get 2 more goals.
I still fully expect Man City to win this, but it'd be interesting team talk afterwards, I'm sure, for the manager.
Well, Pep won't be happy, to say the very least, with the way that Manchester City have managed this. He's watching on stern face as the Fulham fans get to their feet. Wilson, midway inside the Manchester City half, square to Berger, out to the right, and Timothy Castagna. I bet those fans who left after Manchester City made it 5-1 are regretting that a bit now. Fulham have got a corner. Hammersmith in, 13 to go. What next in this game that is a bag of tricks and unexpected twists and turns? Remember, they've lost 18 out of the last 18 against Manchester City. One goal here gets them within one. Harry Wilson delivers the corner, up go the heads, punched away by Donnarumma. Chukwueze! They've got a fourth! This is absolutely extraordinary! 2 for Chukwueze, another from a set piece, and Fulham are back within one! 9 goals at Craven Cottage, Fulham 4, Manchester City 5. From 5-1 down, the comeback is nearly complete, and Pep Guardiola cannot believe it.
Wow, astonishing. Chukwueze there again, isn't it? What are you doing leaving me on the bench when I can play like this? I mean, I said it at 5-2, tongue-in-cheek really. Could Fulham possibly get back into this game, but they're right back in it now, that's for sure.
Well, it's a carbon copy of the third. Chukwueze's on a hat-trick, and the Fulham fans are raucous all around us here. 5-4 to Manchester City. They were 5-1 up. What a potential comeback this is for Fulham. Manchester City have kept it in on the near side, the left. Pep Guardiola just watching now from a seated position in the dugouts. And it's all on for the last 11 and a half minutes on Talksport 2. This has got to be one of the games of the season, Martin Keogh.
Well, it certainly is here anyway. I mean, the goals have been flying in. Some wonderful goals we've seen tonight.
Well, Nico O'Reilly with the throw for Manchester City, and Fulham smuggle it away.
It's interesting, O'Reilly's in absolutely no rush to get this ball in. Look, he's just a little bit of professionalism. He's just waiting. Nobody on for him.
Here is O'Reilly again, 10 yards from the corner flag. He's going to be held up by Anderson. It's out of play. It's a throw to Manchester City here. Fulham 4, Manchester City 5. And this is a fixture that was going the way of history and recent form, but Fulham have got back to within one. Reinders will take a throw. 10 yards shy of the corner flag, and they're not happy, the Fulham fans, at the delay from Reinders as Anderson hoists it long. Well, there are 10 minutes.
Well, yes, but the referee's doing absolutely nothing about speeding the game up.
On by Wilson. Kusiasari will chase it. He's running the channel, but Ruben Dias is in the way, and it's thundered clear by Gvardiol. Drops to Iwobi. Manchester City have no control of this game, but they have won it back through Nunes. Just shy of the halfway line. This is an all-time Premier League classic, whatever happens, I think, now. But Fulham are looking for an historic comeback. There's a foul on Foden. The referee's pointing to his watch saying, I'm keeping an eye on the time, but the goals are flying in at the Cottage. Fulham 4, Manchester City 5, and they're going to make a change apiece on the bench, and we'll tell you about those changes in the moment. One for Fulham, one for City. Well, Arsenal will be watching and listening with interest because of potential drop points for Manchester City here. Off goes Harry Wilson, on comes Kevin, who's yet to score the club record signing. And for Manchester City, it's Ryan Cherky for Tierney Reinders. And Martin Keown, you wouldn't bet against one more chance for Fulham in this game.
No, and honestly, look, they've got right back into it, and it was, I mean, this is almost the manager saying, must have one hell of a team talk, and they looked completely out of it, didn't they? That early goal the second half, you thought, okay, job done, let's just get the substitutes on for Man City, and all credit to Fulham. Once they got the main players on the pitch, the recent players, they've been outstanding. The time wasting's unbelievable here, isn't it?
Dwight McNeil has scored for Everton at Bournemouth. It's Bournemouth 0, Everton 1, live on the Talksport app. Manchester City lead by 5 goals to 4. They were 5-1 ahead at one point. Fulham have scored 3 in response, and they are not finished yet. 8 minutes to go. Sessegnon on halfway, back to Calvin Bassey. The latest odds, well, they've changed quite a bit with William Hill. Fulham to win 22-1, Manchester City to win at 1-5, the draw now at 4-1. All thanks to William Hill, 18 plus, gambleaware.org. Long it goes for Fulham. High towards King, takes a big bounce and will trickle through to Donnarumma.
It's interesting, City just can't get on the ball at all. We're not seeing any slick passing. We're not seeing any control from them whatsoever. They've been pressed. Look at it. I mean, the Fulham crowd here. I mean, we talked about Chelsea, didn't we? The game Arsenal-Chelsea, and were they over-aroused before the game or overly motivated? And you watch this Fulham team now, and it's at one with the crowd. The players look magnificent, totally transformed from what we saw at the beginning of the match.
Well, where has this come from? Manchester City have played their own part in potentially giving this away, and Kusiasari could be in. Goes down. Is that a penalty? Referee has a think, and he gives a goal kick. Kusiasari got the wrong side of Nico O'Reilly there. Craig Pawson, the referee. Martin Keown, what do you think?
Well, just going to see a replay there. Oh,
doesn't get the ball.
He doesn't know, but I wonder though. Does the Fulham player come off his line to get his foot there to be fouled? But nonetheless, O'Reilly doesn't actually get to that ball.
Well,
we'll assume it's been looked at and they're playing on, so everyone's happy.
69% of the ball for Fulham in the second half. Would you believe it? What a turnaround. And still Manchester City have scored 2 themselves, but Fulham have scored 3. Fulham 4, Manchester City 5. Talksport 2 with 6 to go. Josh King down the right-hand side. The Fulham fans are on their feet. King with a weaving run down the near side, and he tries to pull it across. It's going to be a corner to Fulham. Well, this is the threat for Manchester City. Corners that they clear that'll whack back into the net. That's been the story of the second half.
Yeah, and they just can't control Fulham. And the crowd here is really recognising this.
Well, is this the moment for Fulham here? It's a corner on the near side of the field. Delivered in high by Chukwueze, headed away. And now the loose ball is going to drop for Savinho, and the referee spotted a foul inside the penalty area. Everybody there, Martin, was expecting it to get knocked down to a Fulham player and whacked into the net again.
Yeah, it's been a feature of this game. I mean, it might have been a foul on the goalkeeper, Donnarumma, who's not in any kind of rush, is he?
No.
I wonder if he's going to get booked again.
Well, he's got to be careful because he's 1 yellow away from a Premier League suspension, is Donnarumma. 5-4 to Manchester City. Long from Donnarumma, and it's going to swirl out towards the near side. Header on by Gvardiol, knocked forward by Anderson, brought down by O'Reilly. Well, if Manchester City drop points here, then there will be huge questions asked. Donnarumma darts away from King. Confident goalkeeping.
Not something you associate him with, is it, really? Into nice footwork. He's a little bit lucky there.
That's why they got rid of him at PSG, isn't it, in theory? Luis Enrique wasn't convinced by his footwork. Bernardo Silva for Manchester City on the halfway line. He's wriggled away from 1, 2, 3 in white. Brought down by Sessegnon, and a free kick with 4 minutes to go to Manchester City. Be fascinating to hear what Pep Guardiola has to say after this game.
Well, they're doing things the hard way, aren't they, City? At the weekend, is exactly the same. Took a last-minute winner virtually to get them through over the line. It's certainly not easy here tonight, when it should have been.
It was 5-1. It was 5-1 early in the second half. Fulham have brought it back to 5-4. Bernardo Silva looking to race down the far side, the right, and he nudges it infield towards Cherki. And Bernardo Silva on the stretch again, straight to Bassi. Bassi gives it to Cherki, who clips the ball into the box. It's nodded away by Castagna. Chukwueze back to Castagna, right back position. Early high ball to King, who's trying to take on Stones. King has got the beating of Stones maybe here. In a one-on-one, Kusiasari is going to run for the touchline, and he keeps it in play. Dead ball line near side the right. Fulham looking for an equaliser. 5-4 down. Chukwueze with a good reaving one into the area, and he's curled it wide. Oh, what a run and what a goal that would have been for Chukwueze.
Well, it looked like Messi. The way that he ran with that ball was inspired. I think he's gone past 2-3 defenders, and he's on his left foot. He's out on the right hand, so he's got absolutely no right to weave his way through 3 players, and then he didn't have the finish to match it.
What is going on, Martin Keown? Nobody could have predicted this. Fulham looking to make it 5-5 as Donnarumma clears. Fulham fans on their feet all around us again. And, well, if those who left earlier are probably trying to get back in. 2.5 minutes of normal time to go. Is there one last chance left in it for Fulham? Castagna to Chukwueze. What a difference he's made. Good sliding challenge by Gvardiol. No foul from him. Bernardo Silva has possession on halfway. Little chip out to Savinho. Savinho away on the left-hand side. He's going to head for the near side channel. And Savinho then suddenly wriggles infield into a central area. Plays it back to Ruben Dias. From 10:15 tonight, Sports Bar taking your calls. 03717 223344. You can switch to Talksport for that here from Talksport 2. And we'll also get the final 30 minutes of Newcastle against Tottenham on Talksport once we're finished here. It's 0-0 at St James's, not quite the goal fest that we have had here tonight. Well, there's 90 seconds of normal time to play. Manchester City take their time with the throw. And the Fulham fans are really irate about that. It's long to Haaland, and now Foden left corner of the area. Haaland, is he going to go for the corner flag here? He's not. He's nudged it infield. Clever flick by O'Reilly, but Berger is back for Fulham. Anderson, and it's hit his shins. O'Reilly down by the dead ball line, trying to win Manchester City a corner. Berger's done exceptionally well, and then is hauled down. Well, we're hearing there are going to be 8 added minutes. As many as 8. Well, you'll be able to tell by the roar in a moment when the added time is confirmed.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I think that's right and proper, because the referee has done nothing to really speed things up. I mean, and Foden's put the ball out of play here, assuming one of his own players is injured, and I don't think he's going to get it back.
Well, it's not a head injury, so the game doesn't have to stop. We know that. O'Reilly jogs on.
I think the referee's coming over here to insist maybe that...
Foden's saying it should go back to Manchester City, but I don't think that Fulham really need to do that.
They won't. Chukwueze's got the ball in hand.
And
he has, actually. That's very, very sporting, I have to say. And it's been booed roundly all around us.
Well, I think because the Fulham fans felt there was an element of dishonesty, didn't they, in the way that it all came about. 8 added minutes. It's been confirmed. 5-4 to Manchester City. Well, it'll be a nervy 8 minutes for the away fans here. Who would have thought that a Premier League classic would take place on this night of all nights? Chukwueze scampering across from right to left. They can't deal with him. Good ball. Sessegnon in a crossing position. Kevin delivers high. King with his back to goal. Drops to Castagna. Castagna fizzes it in. Kevin nods it back across towards Chukwueze, and it's away by Bernardo Silva. Fulham will keep coming, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, to think 5-1 and to see City panicking. I mean, that's Bernardo Silva, the most experienced players, just lash that away. And they just keep coming. Attack after attack from Fulham.
It was 5-1, it's now 5-4. The break is on for City here. Haaland bouncing ball. He's beaten Bassi to it. He's nudged it on to Savinho. Savinho through the middle. And 2 defenders get back in between Savinho. And Fulham can clear away. But it's a terrible throw out by Leno, the goalkeeper. Straight to Bernardo Silva. Manchester City are going to close the gap on Arsenal, but only just as it stands.
City just have to keep this. It's like there's no control. I mean, they could well score again, but what they need to do is just keep it. Head for the corner flags.
Can't ever remember a Pep Guardiola team, as you say, Martin Keown, panicking in the way that we've seen City panic tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, again there, they've given the ball away again, and it's just going to invite another attack. I just wonder whether or not there's enough time left for Fulham. I think, you know, if there was longer in this game, I think I'd be almost certain they could score, because they look like they're out on their feet, some of these City players.
Well, we've had nearly 2 of the 8 added minutes, so at least 6 added minutes to come on Talksport 2, where it's Fulham 4, Manchester City 5. It was 5-1 at one point. Chukwueze, he is unstoppable at the moment. Another crossfield ball arcing out to the left. Kevin has brought it down. Kevin for Fulham, one-on-one with the defender, and can he get past Nunes? He has done, but he's committed a foul, says the referee in doing so. That looked a little harsh, but free kick given nonetheless.
Well, the referee's got a very good position, to be fair to him. Just to have a look here. Yeah, he's just dragged his opponent back. Referee's on it there, Kevin. Just a bit too zealous with that challenge.
But it finished England 2, Ghana 0 in that Lionesses friendly. Alessia Russo with a late penalty to confirm England's victory. Donnarumma is going to hammer the ball long for Manchester City. Haaland can't bring it down, and it's a heavy back pass high to his goalkeeper by Berger. Leno controls on his chest and plays a simple ball square to Bassi. Bassi long up towards Kusiasare, headed away. Berger will prod it towards the right. Interception by Gvardiol, and Manchester City on the counter. Back to Gvardiol in the penalty area. This to seal it. Lays it square off the line by Anderson. 5 added minutes still to go. 5-4 Manchester City. And they nearly wrapped it up there.
Well, you said that an hour ago.
How many times have they nearly wrapped it up? How many times have they nearly scored?
That's the astonishing thing here, and we can't be certain that they'll see this through either.
You just wonder, is there one more chance coming in the game for Fulham? Even if there isn't, Marco Silva can take a lot from the comeback, but not a lot from the defending. Anderson just covering on the goal line there behind Gvardiol, who beat Leno, but not the Fulham defender. Didn't really get anything behind the finish there, Gvardiol. Blackburn lead Ipswich by a goal to 0 in the Championship. Anderson away for Fulham. And now it's with Sessegnon, left back position, forward towards the halfway line, where it was well held up initially on that far side by Josh King, and then City belt the ball out of play into the stand, and that's a yellow card out of the pocket of the referee for Cherki. Cherki is booked for time wasting, and Manchester City are thrown here. They are panicked here.
It's not something you associate with City, is it? Cherki, they're just ballooning it into the stand.
They're under great duress, Manchester City.
I think they've got to get the ball, though, to Iwobi. More and more since the substitutions have been made, we haven't seen Iwobi quite so much, but he needs to come into play for them to create something.
3.5 added minutes to go. 5-4 Fulham trail. It's back with Bassi. Pep Guardiola out of his technical area. Cannot contain himself at the moment. Kevin away on the left for Fulham. He's taking on Nunes in a one-on-one. Gets to the dead ball line. Kevin driving it on and pulling it back. Oh, and he evaded 2 Fulham players in the middle. And now Manchester City break. Anderson there to win it back off Savinha. Here come Fulham again. Chukwuezi's ball up the middle. King couldn't get there. Martin Keown.
Yeah, Chukwuezi there just getting carried away. He's got to play the simple pass, but every time he runs with it, something comes off. I mean, this is an unbelievable game.
And it's amazing how poorly Manchester City are managing it.
Yeah, they just, I mean, honestly, they're not playing here, are they, with their heads, Man City, at all. Every time they get it, it's like about 100 miles an hour, and let's run with it. No, Pep, you've got to keep the ball and pass. But it makes for an incredible spectacle.
Foul on Cherki in the centre circle. I think there might have been a yellow card. We know that Cherki was booked for time wasting. But how close were Fulham a few moments ago, Martin?
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, he does really well, Kevin, on that left-hand side. He gets past his man. It just evades everyone. And there's good movement in the box. Great the way he knocks it out with his right foot, crosses it with his left, and he just misses going to a Fulham player.
Well, the final change for Manchester City, Foden, replaced by Ake. It's a defensive change. No surprises about that. Officially, we've got about 1 minute and 35 seconds of added time to go, but I reckon there's at least a couple of minutes because of the delays in added time as well. So Fulham 4, Manchester City 5. And we are in the 97th minute. Ake for Foden is the City substitution. Well, the ball is in the centre circle and Bernardo Silva's just whacked it high towards the corner flag. Header away. Kevin back to Iwobi. What incredible spirit Fulham have shown tonight, and maybe it's not over yet. A minute to go. 9 goals have been scored at Craven Cottage, 4 of them for Fulham. Out on the left is Kevin. Back now to Iwobi. Iwobi square. Berger. Midway inside the Manchester City half. Kevin is hugging the touchline. Kevin looking to take it beyond Nunes. He's found Sessegnon. Back to Kevin. Reverse ball. King! Off the line by Gvardiol! Oh, it was so nearly the moment for Fulham. And away by Bernardo Silva. Joško Gvardiol has saved Manchester City. And then sliced out by Ruben Dias. The panic continues to spread.
Gvardiol, what about that for defending? When everyone switches off, it goes to that far post. Great approach play from Fulham, and it's just looped over the keeper, and he's on the goal line, and he clears it.
Well, we've had the 8 minutes of added time. Is there anything left in this match? Pep Guardiola screaming at his players to get back behind the ball. 5-4 they lead. The referee's had a glance at his watch. We continue here. Added time on Talksport 2. 99th minute. Anderson long. That's going to swirl towards the back post. Stones underneath it, but it's dropped for Kustiasare. Now Sessegnon nudges it back to Iwobi. Sander Berger into the penalty area. Wide left, Kevin. Still time for Fulham here. Kevin wriggles away, pulls it back, and the shot is blocked by Stones. It's a corner to Fulham. And Manchester City want the whistle, but they won't get it yet. Fulham corner, 5-4 City.
Now the City goal is under siege here. Can they find the ball into the box? Riveting.
Could this be possible? We've had 99 minutes. Kevin's corner, chested away at the near post and hammered clear by Cherki. And Manchester City escape with victory by the skin of their teeth. Fulham so nearly producing what would have been one of the Premier League's greatest ever comebacks. But Joško Gvardiol with the clearance off the line to deny Josh King right at the very end. And the irony here, given that Manchester City were 5-1 up early in the second half, and Fulham so nearly striking back to make it 5-5. Haaland, Reinders, 2 for Foden, and an own goal for Manchester City. Smith Rowe, Iwobi, and 2 for Chukwueze for Fulham. Chukwueze getting pats on the back like he'd won the game. Fulham fans will be delighted with the near fight back, and Manchester City will be desperately, mightily relieved that they have closed the gap on Arsenal at the top to 2 points, but they only just did it. Fulham 4, Manchester City 5, Martin Keough.
Well, quite a remarkable game, wasn't it? And you wonder where were Fulham in that first half, by the way, because they just weren't in the contest. And then when City scored early at the start of the second half, you know, it looked like the game was over, 4-1, and you thought, okay, you know, this is going to be, makes lots of substitutes, a good evening. And Pep, the way he's talking to his Savinho, he's got round the collar at the moment, trying to tell him where he should be when they're out of possession. And credit to Fulham, and honestly, that Marco Silva has to play Iwobi in the centre of midfield for the rest of the season. The 3 games I've seen them win, he's played there. Tonight, he was out on the periphery. They make him play central. He's pulling the strings, and he's at the best. He's now playing the best football of his career. Smith Rowe joined in, and then Chukwueze coming off the bench. I mean, 2 wonderful finishes that they had no right to be still in this game, and very nearly got on level terms.
Well, the Fulham players look devastated, Martin. The Manchester City players almost look a little embarrassed going over to the away supporters. We've seen Manchester City at their attacking best at times tonight, but defensively, you can't win a Premier League title defending like that, can you?
No, but what was important is they get 3 points. And Gvardiol's clearance off the line at the end was just as important as all the goals that were scored and Foden's wonderful performance. But there are question marks. There are question marks, and the rest of the Premier League looks at that and says, if you go after this City team, there's a weakness, and you can get through if you're inspired. But you've got to be given that platform by the manager. But when he opened the door to that, Marco Silva, you saw all this wonderful talent coming off the pitch, off the bench, and giving it all. And it was made for a cracking evening. But we could have seen this from the start if he'd have played with a more attacking formation.
Well, he's talking to Smith Rowe at the moment, is Pep Guardiola, doing one of his post-match debriefs like he likes to. We have seen some history tonight. Erling Haaland, the quickest player ever to score 100 Premier League goals. But after all of that, Martin, we're going to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here For It hero on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
It's hard to know, Martin, who to pick.
Well, it would be nice if you told me I was going to pick one. But do you know what I'm going to go? I'm going to go with Iwobi, because I just thought he was the most influential player, and I think the manager he took him out of a central role. What I said to you about Arsene Wenger all those years ago, this man is a game changer. He should be playing centrally, and when he went there, he transformed the evening. Wasn't enough in the end, and credit to City for hanging on, because they were hanging on. But Iwobi plays a major part in that.
So there we are. Alex Iwobi is our Here For It hero, man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.